Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, I'm going to try doing a kind of like a mystery reviews or review for movie or movies, depending on if they're like a trilogy, I can do them all at once, or if they're just a singular movie. And figured I would do it in the morning because for the next couple Wednesdays, well, except for May the 12th, I will not be around at all online. Personal stuff. But yeah, I figured I would do these little reviews, and you may have noticed that I was not online recently. Well, that is because I was watching these three movies of books that I have seen, and I wanted to see if the movies were any good. Now, before I start, please like, subscribe, share, and get this video out. I am trying to get my watch time up to 2,000 hours, and it's really frustrating that, well, that's personal stuff. Anyway, Subhuman, good to see you. Biggles, thank you for tuning in. So, yes. The general consensus for these movies are that they are bad. All three of them, the general consensus was the books were bad. Well, that's all well and good. Well, here's the thing. I also read these books when they first came out. I honestly thought they were, well, not good per se, but they did have a story and potential. I thought that they had a good rhythm that was just beyond what everybody else knows them to be about. And these movies and books happen to be the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. Yes, I actually tortured myself and watched not just the theatrical, but the unrated editions of these movies. And yes, I understand if a lot of you want to tune out now. But here's the thing. I watched the movies. I read these books. Yeah, I've read the 50 Shades trilogy back when it came out. And honestly, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was that evil. Now, a lot of people say, oh, the BDSM community hated it and whatnot. That's good. I'm not part of the fucking BDSM community. I'm not. I just looked at it from an outside perspective. Yes, it has Dakota Johnson, Biggles. And hello, Amelia. Good to see you. So, yeah, this movie is basically, or these books are basically about a woman who, through sheer, weird happenstance, has to take over for interviewing for her friend who was sick, and ended up meeting literally the love of her life at first glance, Christian Grey, who happens to be super rich, can do whatever the fuck he wants, and is fucked up in the head because he was molested as a child. This is spoilers reviews, folks. Honestly, when I read these books, I said, these books aren't really all that bad. I mean, they really should put him in college for psychological study on Christian Grey, because you see how fucked up this guy really is. You see how possessive he is. And a lot of people like to call them toxic relationships. Yeah, I can see how it is toxic. But the relationship between Anastasia Steele and Christian Grey is actually consensual to a degree, where he does get kinky and whatnot. Now, there are differences in the books and in the movies, obviously. And I'm not going to go over too much differences. I mean, I am going to compare some of them. But overall, I am going to be reviewing the movies. How you doing, Cameron Ryder? You're not too late. I just started like 4 minutes ago, or 4.5 minutes ago. So, yeah. I'm reviewing the 50 Shades trilogy. Now, 50 Shades trilogy has Jamie Dornan, Dakota Johnson, and Marcia Gay Harden, and a bunch of others. Kim Basinger is in this one. And no offense to Kim Basinger, she did not age well or look good in these movies. Although there were some scenes in it where I actually am like, okay, they got that close to right. She plays the person that basically molested Christian Grey as a child, where the very famous line in the books and in the movie, "You taught me how to fuck, she taught me how to love." And honestly, that is a great scene. It shows character growth. While a lot of people say that these books are nothing but erotic fantasies and whatnot, well, guess what? If you actually fucking read the book, delved into it a little bit, you'd realize that there is character growth, there's character evolution, there's actually a story in there. It just happens to be about sex and fucking and later loving and whatnot. It does do a lot right, but it also does get a lot wrong. Sometimes the story does revolve too much around the sex, and it does get a little too sex oriented. So I can see why that would turn some people off. But the fact of the matter is, that is basically what this was about. They were about sex, fucking, and slightly getting into the whole BDSM sub and domination thing. Now, yes, I do know that there are some subs and doms out there that looked at these things and said that they were a big fucking insult to the community. And you know what? That's in their perspective. I'm not going to touch on that because I'm not part of that community. However, I will say that for the purpose of this book, it did suit a purpose and it did work. It showed that this woman, Anastasia, was not going to just dive right into this lifestyle with Christian Grey, and he wasn't going to force her into it. So in a way, yes, this man is honorable. He does actually have a sense of decency. He's like, I don't make love, I fuck hard. And I'm like, well, they actually got that right. That was in the book, and they actually have it right to where they don't fuck the first time because she's still a virgin. He makes love to her. He basically gives it to her soft and whatnot. He introduces her into the world of sex softly so it doesn't scare her. A lot of people love to call Christian Grey a fucked up sexist, misogynistic prick. No, he's actually more than that. This character is so fucking complex that most of the plebs who actually read these books don't know what they're fucking talking about. Unless they actually know the intricacies of a person who has suffered trauma like that. Believe it or not, I have not been sexually molested, but I have had childhood traumas. So I understand how it can fuck a person up in their head. And I can understand why it makes certain people the way that they make them. Now, because Christian Grey's parents or mother was killed because, well, she OD'd, she was a hooker or a prostitute, and she died because of her pimp overdosed her. And the kid got burnt on his chest with cigarettes and whatnot. He ended up in foster care. He got picked up by the Greys. They ended up adopting him and giving him a good family and a good life. He turned that life into a multi-million-dollar empire, or was it billion-dollar, if I remember correctly? Yeah, billion-dollar empire. And he has to learn that it's not always about getting what he wants. But when he is with this woman, Anastasia, yes, at first it is a contract, or it's a contractual relationship of dom and sub, of how they perceive it in this story. And while it does, or she goes over the contract, she's like, anal fisting and vaginal fisting? Absolutely not. So they go over the hards and softs and restrictions and whatnot. It's basically safe words and whatnot. So it's softcore BDSM. And I do like the dynamic between them. She can literally disarm him to a point where later on in the movies, because the first movie, it's cringe. Completely accurately, it is cringe. This movie is where the actors were not fully in their element. They were not fully, or this is a movie where they basically had to get real comfortable with taking off their clothes and for people to see almost everything. I mean, Dakota Johnson in the unrated edition of the first movie, you see the bush. You see everything in a couple scenes. You also see part of the dude's wang. Not that it was something that I paid attention to. It's just there and it's not there. It's part of the movie. And when you watch a movie, you watch it all the way through, including the shit that you don't really want to see. So yes, objectively, I would actually give 50 Shades of Grey unrated a 6 out of 10. There is a story there. It was just done by very bad acting because they were not yet at the comfort level that they needed to be. The writing, which is also part of the books, was not at, it could have been better. Some of the writing in these books are atrocious, but other parts of it was actually well done. The second and third part of the Grey trilogy, or the Shades trilogy, is actually pretty well done. It really is. The story is evolving now that you got all of the complicated, weird shit out of the way. There are some characters that are easily forgettable, and some characters that are easily memorable, other than the main characters of Christian and Anna. Her friend is interesting, Mia, and her friend Kate and whatnot. They're interesting characters. It also, or the movie delves into their lives a little bit as well, because when she's, or in the beginning of, or the end of the first movie, she walks out on Christian because she wanted to know, what is it that you want from me? And show me what you want from me. So she does consent to getting her ass whipped. Meaning he takes a leather crop and literally whips her 10 times. And he gets off on it. That's part of who he is. But believe it or not, when he realizes he has pushed this woman away and it breaks him, it's literally like in the book, at the end of the freaking book. Let me see if I can actually get there. Yeah. Basically, the end of the first book, it's not exactly the same as the movie, but it is very close to the book. When they leave, it is like their last words to each other are Anna and Christian. They are broken when they leave each other because, yes, there is love in there. He is slowly realizing that he loves this woman. He's not familiar with that concept of intimate love. He is familiar with familial love, not intimate love. And he realizes he wants more of her. And he also has to realize in the second movie, she tells him, I cannot be what you want me to be. You need this stuff? I can't be that for you. And he tells her flat out, if having you is what it takes, or if putting that part of me aside is what it takes to have you in my life, I will do it. This is a person who literally feels love for the very first time and wants to hold on to it because it is something so precious to him that it's something that has been missing in him. He's never had it. And now that he has had it, it's something he doesn't want to lose. And believe me, this movie, or the second movie, actually does improve. Where the first movie is a 6 out of 10 objectively, the second movie is actually an 8 out of 10. It steps up greatly. It skips 2 steps. It goes from 6 to 8. The story is a lot better. The actors are more fluid. The writing is a little bit improved. I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie, but it is by far a better movie than the first because the story is now taking off. You see that they have had their problems. They've had their first fight. They broke up. Now they're actually getting back together, and he has to learn. She tells him flat out, I am not going to be a person who is property. This is a relationship. 2 ways. You're going to be mine. I'm going to be yours. We're both going to be ours. And it's not going to be a fucking possession. So when she says, I want to have a job and whatnot, I'm not just going to be somebody to sit and wait on you hand and foot. She meant it. She has a job. Yes, he does try imposing himself into her life more. That is part of his growth. He has to learn that he can't keep doing that. So yeah, when she's working at a place called SIP, which is a publishing firm, she actually is, or she is realizing that she is not having fun at a very low position where she is a publicist's assistant. Now, the publicist's assistant happens to be Jack Hyde, who is a very integral character of this story, who has a long history with Christian, even though Christian is unaware of it. This story happens to sort of evolve into this. It happens to show that now that he has her, what is he willing to do to keep her? This is actually a love story that is fucked up in a lot of ways, but is also interesting to watch. It's a psychological study, folks. As I said, they should put these freaking books in psychology classes because these things are actually that good. They would actually work as a psychology class. What is the psychological background of Christian Grey? Why is he fucked up the way he is? What happened to his character? Why is Jack Hyde the way he is in these movies? It's not just, oh, it's just toxic masculinity. No, there's deep freaking rooted reasons behind it. So yes, while the story in the second one is a lot better, there are some gripes here and there. But I do love the dynamic between Dakota Johnson's character and Kim Basinger's character. Elena Robinson is the woman who molested Christian Grey and put him into the dom sub life. She is the one that taught him how to fuck, so to speak. How you doing, stunning and brave Megatron? You're not coming in with boobs, but you're coming in with butts. Good to see you, buddy. And yes, here's the thing, folks. When Elena sees her for the first time, she fucking hates, or when Anna sees Elena for the first time, she fucking hates her. And it is well deserved because all she is seeing is that Elena molested Christian. That is how I would see it. If I saw somebody who I was into and my significant other happened to have been molested by somebody growing up, and yet they still maintain a healthy relationship with them, I'm going to have fucking problems. Anybody would. Anybody with a freaking half a mind and a sprinkle of common sense would know that this is not good. But the thing is, they do express that Kim Basinger's character, Elena, has become quite possessive and protective of Christian. And she tries telling Anna in the second movie, you don't want it. You can't be what he needs. You've already told him that. And you need to understand his needs, and you can't give him that. The best thing you can do if you really love him, move on. And Anna's telling her to fuck right off because she wants nothing to do with her. So then, while they're back together, Anna and Christian asks her, so what's your opinion on SIP, the place where she works, the publishing firm? And she's like, what do you mean? Is it good growth? Is it this and that? She's like, are you seriously planning on buying SIP? Well, yeah, I was actually planning on expanding. It has nothing to do with you. It actually has everything to do with I was planning to expanding into this market for further growth, learning new things. Now, in a way, he is half lying. He does have a motive to to be possessive. Yes, it is in his nature to be possessive at this point. He is always going to be that way until later on. But he also does want it for his business too. She then gets where she gets because, well, Jack Hyde, her boss, tends to put the moves on her. She declines, and he expresses his disdain for Christian Grey. And she gives him a good solid knee to the groin, shoves him over, runs out. Christian and his security Taylor is there. Taylor was actually played by a great actor. Let me see if I can pull it up. How you doing, Lethal? Good to see you. Reviewing the 50 Shades trilogy. And yes, I put myself through that torture. But it's actually, there is a solid story and a solid study to be had in it. Now, as I was saying, the Shades cast. Who was the guy that played? Yeah. Taylor, Max Martini. He has played in other movies that he actually does very good. He's actually in the God damn it, I'm blanking. The one with the giant robots and the monsters. Fucking Pacific Rim. There you go. He actually plays the Australian father in that one. And he does actually a wonderful job in this one where he's only playing a freaking, or just the guy that has to stand there saying, Mr. Still, and whatnot. He does a great security person. And I am doing well, thank you. And how am I? I'm doing very well. And yeah, I have seen a little bit of the unit. He was great in that show too. Blake St. Clair, thank you for coming in. Thank you all for joining and whatnot. I have 50 Shades of Grey on my metal chassis. That is good. But yes, believe it or not, like I said, I am going to recount this. As a lot of people have ragged on the books and a lot of people have ragged on the movies, it's mostly because they just think it's just nothing but fucking. They just think it's softcore porn. Believe it or not, there is a story in here. It's like, yes, there's sex. Yes, there's fucking. Yes, there's lovemaking. But believe it or not, they actually do have a story in there. And it is a great psychological study. If colleges would actually, or psychology classes were to actually integrate this into their freaking classes, you might actually find something interesting happening. Max Martini was originally considered for Batman before Batfleck. Interesting. But yes, back to the thing. So when Anastasia is attacked by her boss, well, Christian, who has not yet bought his or SIP, does have Jack Hyde arrested and also has him fired completely. She's like, I thought you haven't bought SIP yet. No, but I do know the CEO. And I did explain to him the whole situation. His pass is gone, his passport and all that stuff is pulled because this man is now a flight risk and he is an asshole. And that does complicate things for later on. Now, during all of this, it's borderline softcore. It's more than softcore, believe it or not. You do see more than your fair share of body parts in this. Like I said, in the first one, you actually see Dakota Johnson fully stripped naked. You see her bush and everything. Yes, she has a bush. Bush baby, as Ryan would say. But anyway. So after they freaking handle that, she actually takes his position temporarily, but the people find out who are, or she has to attend the meeting. She's like, I know all the stuff, so I'll handle it. So yeah, she handles it. And they find out, well, shit, she knows what she's doing. Maybe we should look into this guy, Boyce Fox, which is an author that is an up-and-coming author, and he has a massive online following and demographics that they're trying to cater to, the 18 to 24 crowd. So she actually does get them to look at it, invest in it, and it's a great investment. She does a wonderful job. And the guy's like, you know how you're temporarily taking over for Jack? Well, we're going to make it official. You are taking over for Jack. You have his job now. And she gets a congratulations by Christian. She's like, did you have anything to do with this? No, you did this all yourself. Now, as possessive as Christian is, you would think he would have had something to do with it. But he is learning slowly. He does have to step back. Let her grow. Let her earn. Because that is one of the things she said. I cannot be your property. I want to be not only your lover, but your friend and other and whatnot. So yes, he is willing to let her work. He is willing to let her do the stuff that she loves doing because that's how he keeps her. Now, yes, he is very anal about security. Yes, I know, pun intended. But the thing is, it's well needed because, well, shit starts going down as their relationship progresses. And now Jack Hyde is a loose cannon. He sabotages Christian Grey's freaking helicopter. He literally starts sending crazy shit in the mail to Christian Grey and Anna. You owe me a life. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, weird. And then when things get down to the brass tacks, he literally asks her to marry him out of the fucking blue. Now, this is right after he has a nightmare of the abuse he had endured as a child. He's like, marry me. And so she's, the conversation that they have after that, the next morning, is like, do you remember anything? Sleep well? Yeah, I had a great night, slept like a baby. There was that one thing about you marrying me. And she's like, you're fucking with me. I thought you literally did not have any memory of that. Well, I'm serious. I want you to marry me. It's like, so she's like, let me think on it. So she does a sweet little thing. And his birthday is coming up. And she buys him a present. It's a small little present, just something to take with him. And this is actually something that he has after the crash because her family, or his family and her, they are literally like ready to go insane because they think that, or she's ready to just break because she thinks he's dead. I mean, he managed to crash the helicopter, yes, but he also managed to do a soft crash in the woods. Thing is, believe it or not, if you're in a helicopter and you got nominal control or minimal control, the best thing to do, get it in some trees and get it flat as best as you can, because that way you're not going to kill yourself too badly, and you might actually be able to roll away from the damn thing before it blows, if it blows. But anyway, pun intended. So he comes back and he's like, I would like to see my girl. Everybody's just hugging him and like, oh my God. You know, they're worried. Family is worried. Now, Marcia Gay Harden actually plays Lethal. I'm sorry, Lethal. Jesus. Christian Grey's adopted mother. She plays a very great character. Christian's adopted mother is a very important character in the development of Christian Grey, as well as development for Anna, because she is literally a bridge between Christian and Christian's feelings that Anna is aware of, but is trying to get a better hold on. And Marcia Gay Harden's character is just so well portrayed by Marcia Gay Harden that it's like, I honestly could not see a different person for this character. So when Grey is back and he's like, I've been thinking about that question that you left unanswered. And she's like, do you still have that present I gave you? And he's like, yeah. So he pulls it out of his jacket, which was also on the helicopter. And she's like, time for you to open it. And it's a Seattle keychain. And he's like, keychain, nice. What does this have to do with our conversation? Turn it over. She had answered his question of marriage before he even left for all that stuff. She basically left him hanging, but also really didn't. It says yes on the other side, and it lights up and whatnot, and it's like, well, there you go. So they have a ball at the Grey residence, and the confrontation between Kim Basinger's character Elena and Dakota Johnson's character Anna is one of the best moments in 50 Shades Darker. I'm like, I know that this happens. I want to see how it's portrayed. It's not as good as the book, but it is still very good. Where she's like, you didn't heed what I told you to do. You should have just left him alone. You don't understand Christian the way I do. This is something that, or he doesn't understand the concept of love. He doesn't understand the concept of marriage. He's incapable of marriage. You're just a little mouse out for, or wanting his money. And that's when Anna is just like, fuck you, bitch. She throws a martini in her face. Christian sees this, goes up, he is a gentleman, so brings out a freaking thing to wipe her face. Thank you, Christian. And she's like, what the hell are you doing here? Or he's had enough of her too. He's like, what the hell are you doing here, Elena? She's not right for you, Christian. And he's like, you've taught me how to fuck. She's taught me how to love. And he's like, Elena's still trying to reach him. She's just one in a long line. Or she's just the next one in line. But when he said that, you taught me how to fuck, and she taught me how to love, that's when Christian's mother overhears the conversation. And she walks right up to Elena, who is her best friend, who has been her longest friend, but she honestly had no idea about Christian and Elena, that relationship. She goes up, she's like, get the hell out of my house. She slaps her and everything and whatnot. She's like, you stay away from my children. You get the fuck out of my house. It's like Mama Bear just got unleashed, and she held back for the sake of appearance. Marcia Gay Harden did it beautifully. She did that role beautifully. And then she's like, Anna, darling, I need to talk to Christian alone. And they don't see the conversation, but you do understand that, well, this is a mother that needs to talk to her child. And you can imagine this conversation going down. Why didn't you tell me that she was molesting you? That kind of conversation. Why the fuck wouldn't you say anything? Christian Grey had to basically come out to his mom that she introduced me to a life of domination and submission and all that other kinky shit. So yeah, you can imagine how furious she was. But they then freaking go back together, where Anna is waiting for Christian, and she sees a picture of his mother. And that is another thing that is also integral about Christian Grey's character, is his biological mother. All the women that he has dominated in the past happens to look like his mother. Squat, short, petite, brown, long hair. It's just part of the trauma that he has. In a way, he wants to punish her for abandoning him and for leaving him. In his mind, yes, she died, so it's not really the fact that she left him, even though yes, she did, but she died because of it, because of her lifestyle. Also, there was a previous sub of Christians who was stalking Anna in this movie. I forgot to cover that as I was going through the movie, but at first she does standoffish. She follows him, or she follows her around and whatnot, and Christian realizes that there's something going on. He's like, there's a girl, and the second he describes her, he knows exactly who it is, and he does have security measures. And when Anna's like, I'm just grabbing a couple stuff, because this is the point where they agree to live together. And this is earlier in the film, not near the end, where they discuss moving into it. And she goes up and gets some stuff. Now, this woman has been breaking into her stuff, or into Anna's apartment. She saw them in bed together. She's like, you're all wrong for him. He sleeps in your bed. You don't call him master. You don't call him any of this stuff. And then she gets and then she pulls the gun, and she fires off a warning shot, which is the biggest mistake you could do with a revolver. Especially if you know that a guy who has security is outside. But when you're that nuts, that sort of stuff doesn't really click, you know? Was the Cybertron Alita was the Cybertron equivalent of them crazy redheads on her. Jesus Christ. Now she acting like she all goody two shoes. But anyway, well, would have really sucked if he died in a helicopter crash, because he would have then left hanging in the afterlife. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Ben left hanging in the afterlife is what I think you meant, Junebug. But yeah. Cybertron smut is the best smut. Thank you, Lethal. So this moment is also a big part of the growth between Christian and Anna, where he comes in, he literally gets his former sub. It's like, eyes here, point the gun at me. Anna, get out of here. And he gets the gun out of her hand, kneel. She kneels obediently to her. So much, especially with talk text. Yeah. And it's honestly, that was a very integral moment, because she's like, Anna sees this, and Anna's thinking, you don't, or you still need that. It's like, do you not understand what he was literally doing? He doesn't need that. What he was doing was he was doing what he needed to save your freaking life. How you doing, Riot Kitty? Good to see you. I'm going over the 50 Shades trilogy. Yes, I read these books and I've seen the movies. I read these books years ago, and I've seen the movies just recently, all three of them. But yes, one question, I know this is not related to the topic, but are you going to be getting the vaccine? I'm not really going to discuss that right now. That's it. It's way off topic for this video. Kamen Rider. So, yes. He basically does what he knows she will respond to. This woman, Leela, who is one of his former subs, mentally unhinged. He's trying to keep Anna safe, so he does the one thing he needs to keep Anna safe and to get this girl the help she needs. He gets he reverts, not psychologically, but actively, to his dominant status, where he has her to kneel, has her to give him a gun, listen to me, that kind of stuff, to where he dominates. He's not going to have sex with her or anything, but he is basically getting Anna out of there safely. She can't handle this because she thought it was a completely different situation. So she ditches Taylor, his faithful security, and so she just goes out walking, and he's fucking going nuts because, well, nobody knows where she is. Cell phone's not there, and it's like, do you realize what you just did? And he's like, yeah, I kept you safe. She was in the wrong in this situation, folks, because she actually is not understanding the full context of the situation. I would have done anything I had to keep you safe, even if it meant killing that woman. But I did what I did to both get her the help she needs and to keep you safe. And she's like, oh, is she here? No, she is in a freaking mental hospital getting the help she needs. How you doing, Riot? It's good to see you. But yeah, she's like, you gotta understand, Anna. I am literally not, and this is the fight that they have where she fully realizes, holy shit, this man does actually fucking love me. Because she was ready to walk out again, and he drops to his knees in a submissive manner. So he literally gets on his knees, arms up or palms up like this on his knees. That is full submission for anybody who does not understand body language or psychological body language at that. To me, it does kind of come naturally. Understanding that sort of stuff. But anyway, this is something that she sees, and he's like, I can't lose you. I cannot fathom life without you. Yes, it is cheesy dialogue. It is fucking so cheesy, you could cut it with a knife and serve it to people. That's how cheesy the dialogue is in this movie. But it still gets the point across. This man has never understood love in the first movie. He started feeling it in the first movie. It broke him because they ended up, yes, pun intended. It ended up literally forcing him to do shit that he never fathomed he would do. He gave up his life, or he gave up all of the shit that he was willing to do with women through contracts to be with this woman. So with that part out of the way, let's move on to the end of 50 Shades Darker and get into 50 Shades Free, where she has now agreed to marry him. And it does have the marriage. And in the beginning, they're doing their whole round-the-world honeymoon kind of stuff. But while they're doing that, they also expand that while they're out having fun, at the end of 50 Shades Darker, you see Jack Hyde burning a picture of the Grey family, or just burning a picture of Grey's face. And that is important because it is a very powerful statement of what this man, or what is going through this man's life. He only burns Christian's face. How you doing, Demogenai? Good to see you. I'm reviewing the 50 Shades trilogy. Yes, I know. I've heard it all before. But yes. So again, reiterating, getting into the third one, 50 Shades Freed. Yes, folks, I've read the books. I own the books. And I have, well, seen the movies recently, the unrated editions. Now, the third one basically starts, they're having all their fun. Jack Hyde's dangerous right now. He's going out sabotaging Christian Grey's company. Right now, I'm watching season 2 of Transformers Prime. Definitely not 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, way different genres. But one of the biggest misconceptions that people do have about these books and about the movies is that it's all just a bunch of fucking. Yes, there's a lot of sex in these movies. Yes, there's a lot of sex in the books. But there is a story in there. Is it told perfectly? I don't know. But where 50 Shades Darker was an 8 out of 10 objectively, 50 Shades Freed is the same score objectively. It's not perfect, but it is not better or worse than 50 Shades Darker. It's actually right around the same, and that is okay because it is telling a different or a semi-different story because it's showing greater evolving or greater evolution of the characters. Where there's I don't love mushy romance stuff anyways. Believe it or not, it's not yes, it is a very mushy romance, but there's also real world kind of stuff that goes on in it. Not real world as in woke nonsense, but there is a story, and it's a good psychological study. Colleges really should pick up that these things are good for psychological studies. If you can get in the mind of Christian Grey and understand what the frick is going on in his head, yeah. 50 Shades of Optimus because he's lost his memory and joined Megatron. Oh, shit. Well, I'll have to check that out sometime. It does sound interesting. But yes, the fact that he actually, or Christian Grey and Anna, they're married. This is huge steps for Anna, but also for Christian because this is completely uncharted territory for him. He's never felt this way for anybody, but he also still maintains a little bit of that possessiveness. They still have some of the kinky stuff that they go on. They still have the red room and whatnot. And yes, they don't go full out hardcore with it, but he or she is willing to acquiesce somewhat to him, but she loves to defy him because she knows that it's going to lead to some of the more pleasurable stuff. Are you aware of the parody version of these movies with Marlon Wayans? No, I am not. What did Biggles say? Oh, yeah. Oh, that was Biggles that said that. Transformers and 50 Shades of Grey sound like the same thing to me. Wait, I didn't catch that one. That's, well, okay. Well, he has watched the unrated editions research. The unrated editions I got them because I also wanted to watch the special features. For me, I'm a special features kind of person because, well, originally I did want to get into film and whatnot, but unfortunately I was unable to. So yeah, there's a whole Paris scene where they're on a nude beach and he doesn't want her to be topless because, well, he's thinking image and reputation, where she's thinking it's just boobs everywhere. What's the big deal? So she falls asleep topless and whatnot. Some people actually wanted Jamie Dornan as James Bond after Daniel Craig. Interesting choice. Is Jamie Dornan British? I've only heard him with the 50 Shades of Black. Interesting. But anyway, he's pissed off. Now, there is a scene in the book that they actually didn't put in the movie, which honestly I thought was something that could have been perfect in the book or in the movie. The more gangsta version I've heard was the secretary is actually kind of dope. Orange Hat Reviews. I will look into it, Demajani. I cannot promise, but I will look into it and see is it on Netflix or anything? Tell me where I can watch it. Tell me more. He's Irish, but that's okay. Pierce Brosnan was Irish, and Sean Connery was Scottish. Not all British people play James Bond, but yeah. So in the book, he punishes her, not by beating her or anything, but they have sex, and he literally puts a bunch of hickeys all over her body, all over her boobs, her neck, her arms, everything, kind of looking like she just got got the shit beat out of her. But she realizes she has to be more reserved because of all the shit, and she goes off on him. She goes off on him hard in the book, but they don't have that scene in the movie, and it's like, damn, that would have been a good moment. But because of the sabotage that happened at Gray Industries, they have to come back, and they learn that Jack Hyde is back, and that he's trying to get shit or trying to ruin Christian's life and whatnot, but they don't understand his motives. Good morning, Price is Right. Good to see you. And so, I think that the James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal movie, The Secretary. Oh, I will check that out then, because I did hear about that movie. I will see if I can rent it and look at it and whatnot. My last comment about the Transformers for a good chuckle. All right, let me look for it. Orange Hat Reviews. I forgot where I saw it, but yeah, I heard about that from Odin a little bit back. I think I've heard of the parody version. Big Alls. I guess like 50 Shades of Optimus, because yeah. You joined Megatron. Is that the one you were talking about, right, Kitty? Because I'm not seeing anything else that could have been what you were talking about. What movies are we reviewing? The 50 Shades trilogy. Price is Right. But yes, I will check out, or I have heard of The Secretary, and I will check it out tomorrow night. And I'll actually tag you if I do a review on it. So yes, 50 Shades Freed. They're trying to track down Jack. And Anna and Christian are now he actually bought her a house that she saw while he was sailing with her in the second movie, I believe. Yeah, that was it. 50 Shades of Optimus, Season 2 of Transformers Prime. Nice. How you doing, Captain Trek? Hold on one second, folks. Alrighty, I'm back. I had to take care of something really like half a second. 50 Shades of Grey, the chick flick porno. Yeah, I'm glad you're just kidding, because it actually isn't that. A lot of the stuff that a lot of people go off about it on is really not really deserved. It's not really a porno, but it's very kinky. Yes, that is an apt description of it. That is a very apt description of it. So In the second movie, Anna also, or Christian, wrote her a $24,000 check because, well, he wanted her to have nice things. And it was kind of a nice thing for her because she did get a promotion. She rips up the check and he's like, okay, hold on one second. He calls his banker and literally just transfers the money into her freaking account. She's like, I didn't want that money. But what she does, it works. It actually does work to go further into the story, where they're at a charity auction at his parents' house in the second movie, to go back into the second movie a little bit. And there's a trip for two to Aspen, Colorado, courtesy of Christian Grey. You see people getting up to 17,000, 19,000. And yeah, who wouldn't, Damaj and I, who really wouldn't, you know? I'd take it in a heartbeat if it was all cash. But then she's like, 24,000. And Christian looks at her. I told you I didn't want the money, and now it's going to a good cause. And he's like, all right. And so the Aspen trip happens in the third movie. And she wants to go out. She wants to have fun, even though she realizes that, yes, people are after her and whatnot. So in this third movie, you're introduced to her personal security, which I believe is, I can't remember their damn names, but I do believe it's on here. So yeah. Nope. We're crying out loud. I know it's somewhere here. Just give me a second, folks. Well, I can't remember. All I know is that that is one of the objective flaws of the movies, is that not immortal, but you got to admit the most who watched this film or read the books are women. Just saying. Yes, that is actually not really up for debate. It is absolutely true that mostly women read the books and whatnot. But you know what? I read the books out of sheer curiosity, and I thought they were okay. Not good, but okay. My mom's former roommate watched 50 Shades and Twilight religiously, so I got to see it around 13 when I would otherwise never interact with it. Jesus. Oh, okay. Damn. I've actually seen the Twilight movies and read the books too. I mean, shit. I was consuming input, kind of like Johnny Five at the time. So yeah. But anyway, back to the movies. She gets her own two personal securities, a man and a woman. And believe me, they come in handy later. Damn, Kitty. Yeah, that's my reaction to that too. But I can tell by the review, this is not a movie review for me. Hey, Bagels, it's not a movie for you. It's not for everyone, that is true. But I'm not going to say don't watch it or not. When it comes to movies like this, you got to make up your own opinions. You got to make up your own minds. Me, if a person says, I'm going to watch this movie, only if it's that shit is woke trash will I not watch it. But if it's a movie that is not totally known to be woke, I'll give it a look. So, where was I? Personal security and whatnot. So she goes out with her friend Kate, and who's madly in love with Christian's brother and whatnot. But she also thinks that Kate's kind of cheating on him, or cheating on her, or Kate or Christian's brother's cheating on Kate and whatnot. And you honestly, legitimately get the feeling that this is the whole situation, because there's a character who is an architect who is really sluttish. The movies are not for me. That's all I can say. Maybe not. But honestly, if you ever do get curious, take a look at them. You never know. You might actually find something in there that's likable. Wait, has he always had a brother? Yes. Again, he was an adopted, or he was adopted into the family, but he was adopted into a family and he did have a brother, not a biological brother, but an adopted brother, or he was adopted into a family and he has a brother and a sister and whatnot. So they all go to Aspen, and no wait, this is before that or after the house. So I'm gonna get to the house thing next. The house that they saw in while they were sailing, Christian buys it, and the woman who was the architect that was also at their wedding is kind of putting the moves on Christian while they're talking about what to do with the house, modernize it and whatnot. He's like, well, it's all up to you, Christian, really. And she grabs his wrist and whatnot, giving all the hints that she really just wants to fuck this guy, even though she is fully aware that he is married. And she's not really having it. Anna is seeing all this, and it's like, you couldn't be more fucking open with this shit. This has been story time with Raya Kitty. Thank you for coming. TED Talk, or coming to my TED Talk about how I watched 50 Shades of Grey. You don't necessarily have to review it, but I do recommend actually just giving it a watch. I mean, you never know, right? You might actually find something that is in there that you might like. Or to me, I don't like the whole movie. Or honestly, it could do with a little bit less sex in it. But the thing is, it's still a good movie in one way or another. Subjectively, these movies are mostly 7 to 8 out of 10. Subjectively. Damn, women and their tempting home wrecking. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I watched it. It's not. Oh, you have seen the movies, or did you only see the first one, or the whole trilogy? Anyway, funny irony, depending on who you ask, but majority of women don't want to be a rape victim, yet the same time have fetishes and fantasies of doing 50 Shades. Well, that's the thing. 50 Shades isn't rape. Maybe I'd like it better as an adult, but yeah, exactly. Believe me, when I watched that's the thing. You only watch the first one. The second one and the third one have greater storytelling and have better acting in it. So don't let the first one sour you. Yes, the first one is cringe, but you got through it. Watch the second and third one. You might actually be surprised in how much you like them. I have seen them before. I think they're just okay. I just really feel the way Dakota Johnson did not inherit the acting talent in her family. That's her family. She's good, but I think she's kind of weak. What family is she in? I'm drawing a blank there, June. But tell me more. But anyway, so when Christian has to take a call, but before he does, he tells her, what my wife says goes. This is her house. This is the whole, or she is in charge of it all. And she's like, look, stop making eyes at my husband. And I do have a lot of plans for this house. And if you keep making eyes at my husband, I'm going to get or you're going to find yourself in your shit-colored car and looking for a different job. You understand me? And as Christian's coming back, she's like, it won't happen again. It's like, holy shit, man. Her mother is Melanie Griffith and her dad is Don Johnson. Her grandmother is Tippi Hedren. Holy shit, yeah, holy shit. That's some pretty hardcore acting skill that you have just named. Holy damn. Melanie Griffin, she's up there. Tippi Hedren is also up there. Holy shit, these are legends that you just named off, June. And she's part of that family? Shit. But yeah, the way that she put the architect in her place, it's like, Damn, man. And you'd think that because Christian walked away, he didn't catch it. But he noticed how standoffish she was after Anna gave her the riot act. Pun intended, riot. But anyway, he's like, if you can handle her, you can handle anything. Because he was driving one of those high-end sports cars that you can really gun the engine and whatnot. And so she's like, I want to drive. He's like, no, you're not driving this car. But after she proves that she can handle the architect and put her in her place, he's like, all right, I'll let you drive it. Sure, why not? It is kind of like one of those lay off the wheels at first, but it fits. It really does. Yes, it's a little bit of misogynistic tendency, but it still fits. He has to grow, and it's an organic growth in this movie. So you see that she's driving, she's enjoying it, and she literally loses their security detail. And he's like, and then he gets a call from Taylor, the detail, who they have thoroughly lost, and they're like, yeah, there's a vehicle that just blew past us and they're following you. The chase in the book is very interesting. I think they were actually coming back from a different situation in the book, but it ends out pretty much the same way because I believe she had a dress on in the book and they were coming from a social event. But hold on one second, need to get some hydration. Yeah, so she did not inherit the acting gene in her family, in my opinion, but she's a serviceable actor. Well, she definitely has no problem with nudity, I'll give you that much. Anyway, so she has to lose this person that's tracking him, and there is this little bit of a car chase in this scene, or in this movie, and it's a very good car chase. She drives like a maniac, and she actually loses him on the highway. And one of the cool things about Christian Grey's security entourage, they literally can work with the police. They literally have the police to work with them. Yes, it's kind of the whole I'm rich, I can work with the police and whatnot kind of thing. But it works it's a noble fashion. It's not a fuck you, I get to get away with whatever I want. No, that's not how it works in this. So they finally lose the tail, and in the book it does so happen that Anna is so hyped up on adrenaline that she literally just fucks Christian right in the car because it's near-death experiences, a lot of adrenaline, YOLO, all that shit packed into one. She was, and it's like, now I fucking need it now. Because, well, that's just the way it happens. I mean, believe it or not, I have been in freaking near-death situations where, yeah, you find yourself incredibly horny and there's nobody around, so it's like, fuck, what do I do, But in this situation, the husband and wife were together, so yeah. Also, one of the things that was missing in the book was, now that they're married, he didn't want kids yet, and so she was getting shots regularly to keep her not infertile, and it doesn't, instead of wearing one of those things in you to stop you from getting pregnant or using condoms and all that such, because he doesn't like condoms, she was getting shots to prevent her from getting pregnant. She had missed 2 shots, and she later finds out that she's pregnant. Also, Jack Hyde goes into their apartment and puts a knife to her throat. He gets arrested and put out on bail. Now, the company that bailed out Jack was Elena, the guy that molested Christian. Her ex's company ends up putting Jack out on bail, and he goes nuts, but we'll get to that later. And it's all interesting. Now, she does not like the fact that she has to stay all cooped up even after Jack is in jail. And she realizes that she's pregnant after she goes to see that he is able to make bail because it was set at $500,000. And so she realizes she's pregnant. And in the book, it's handled a little bit better. This is where Jamie Dornan's acting kind of is not good. He just fucking loses it. He's like, I want to share the world with you and no one else. I'm not ready for a fucking kid. What are you fucking kidding me? And he literally just goes right off on her. And then he fucking leaves. And then you see him getting into going to Elena, the one that molested him and turned him into what he was. That's when good already comes in handy in those near-death experiences when you're horny. Dude, not in public. But anyway, so yeah, he comes back, he's drunk, and she puts him to bed, and she sees that Elena texts him, and this is her chance to get pissed. Oh shit, I fucking skipped over the Aspen thing because this happens after Aspen. Let's go back into Aspen after this, though. She literally loses her shit over this because, well, he went to the one person that she absolutely fucking hates. Now, yes, it is easy to understand exactly where she is coming from. It's also it's not so easy to understand where he is coming from, but I can also understand. She just threw him not into a deep end of a pool, but into a literal deep end of the ocean where he is completely off guard, unprotected, honestly has no fucking idea what he's going to do. This is completely worrying to somebody with trauma. He reacts in an almost autistic fashion. And it's nuts. Just got back from shopping. Hey, Jade, good to see you. I'm reviewing 50 Shades of Grey, the book, not the books, but the movies. I recently watched them over the last few days, and that's why I haven't been doing a lot of videos. But yeah, behind an alley because anything is legal as long as you don't get caught. Jesus Christ, dude. You're bad, Junebug. You're bad. But anyway, this story sounds completely bonkers. Yes, it does, but it's still an interesting story. And like I said, yes, to those who have been in the BDSM community, Mara has said yes. Yes, it is a cheesy romance, Mara, but honestly, like I said, oh, Jesus Christ, it completely jumped on me. Like I said, put these in a psychological study. Don't look at it as a bunch of fuck books. Think of it as a psychological study, and you actually have a lot of shit in here that actually might come in handy. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's an insult to the BDSM community." Maybe, but I'm not part of the BDSM community. I can't fucking state that. So yeah, I'm reviewing these as movies and comparing them to the books that I read when they came out and just happened to own. Shit, yes, I've even read the fucking Twilight books and seen the Twilight movies. I own them too. I got them when they came out. Don't fucking judge me. But anyway, I haven't watched them in years because I've, not been near my fucking Blu-ray collection. I have like thousands of Blu-rays and DVDs. Back to the movie. So yeah, he doesn't handle it well, and they handle it pretty decently in the movie, but it's better in the book. Now, I know, I mean, they were literally written as Twilight fanfics. Probably. But honestly, they're a lot better than the Twilight books, to be 100% completely honest. They are 100% better than the Twilight books. I actually prefer these books over the Twilight books, and yes, I can say that because I've read all or both. So, in the Aspen scenes where you think that Anna's friend Kay is getting cheated, or getting cheated on by Christian's brother with the architect, you then find out that it's not entirely the case. The reason why he's been distant is because he's been kind of, or distant with Kate is because, well, you know, you see them at a club and Christian's like, can we get 2 bottles of this? And yeah. And then he just kind of turns Anna to him and lifts up a ring and it's like, it's time, make your move. So Christian's brother proposes to Anna's friend Kate, and it's like, okay, so now you know that they're not cheating, or that he wasn't cheating on her. But also Anna gets to talk to Christian's brother in the woods while they're doing a hike, and she gets a little bit more background. And while this is all going on, Christian is learning more about Jack Hyde. He's like, wait, he was put in foster care in this area? I was too. The fuck? You learn more about Jack Hyde and why he sent them a letter saying, you owe me a life. And then it does come to the culmination after the whole pregnancy thing, because it's the pregnancy thing that leads up to this whole thing, where she's at work. She's totally pissed off at Christian because Christian reacted in a very bad way in her mind. She's hurt. She doesn't want to hear from him. And it's just a lot of shit that's gone wrong. And so she gets a call from Mia, Christian's sister. But it's Jack on the phone. He made bail, and he immediately made his moves to fucking get his revenge. And he's like, Christian's life was supposed to be my life. She's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Nah, never mind. You're too stupid to realize this shit. What you're going to do is you're going to get fucking $5 million. You're not going to tell your fucking security. You're not going to tell your husband. You're not going to tell anybody. If you don't do it, well, I do have Mia's phone. She does kind of look kinky, all tied up and shit. I mean, that pose of her tied up looked completely faked. Like, it's like she's looking a little too comfortable in that picture. But anyway, she does the whole thing where she can't tell Christian. She goes to the bank. She's like, we got to talk to your husband. And so they call, and she's like, I can't tell you anything. I'm sorry, Christian. He thinks that she's leaving her, or he thinks that she's leaving him. She's like, is this because of earlier? Honey, this isn't, let's talk about this shit. And she's like, I can't talk to you about it. It hurts her because she is pregnant about it. Or she's pregnant. She's panicking. She doesn't know how to handle this. It's like, bitch, you could literally freaking tell. How the hell is he going to know? How the hell is he going to know if you don't freaking tell, or if you tell at least your security? So, yeah. You also realize that there is a female helping Jack, which in the movie, it's actually one of the people that she works with. Her name is Liz. She's not really expressed too much in the movies. A couple shots here and there, and that's about it. But you don't get any animosity toward her. But then you find out that the woman, when they were identified, because in the book, it's very linear. You don't get the extra added stuff of where Christian puts it together and where they're all converging and whatnot. You only get it from Anna's point of view at this point. And the woman, Liz, who works with her, she's like, why are you doing this? She's like, just shut the fuck up, give me your phone. And she switched her phone. She put her phone in the bag with the cash of $5 million and takes the banker's phone, because the banker literally says, or gets told by Christian, do everything she says and give her everything she wants. Well, he also gives her the fucking phone. And it's like, oh shit. I'm pretty sure they replaced his phone, but oh damn, man, because they literally drop it in a puddle. And so they're tracking Anna's phone. And, well, she gets the shit beat out of her by Jack because, well, Jack is in a jealous rage and whatnot. He starts beating on her, kicking her in the stomach. Remember, she's pregnant, folks. Good chance she could have lost a kid. She's 7 weeks at this point, or 8 weeks or some odd, because of all this stuff that's going on. So 7 to 8 weeks. So there's a lot that could happen that could easily lose that kid. Well, I hope Christian Grey has rice to save his phone. No, he could easily just replace that shit. But anyway, it was the banker's phone that got ruined. Yeah, that they were. Okay, I gotta call it. Thanks for the entertainment. You're welcome. You're welcome, Lethal. And I am getting ready to end this one because it's actually close to the ending of it. So yes, Jack actually gets shot in the leg because Anna's like, enough of this shit. She pulls out the revolver that was from her stalker, Leela, because, well, Christian kept the gun and didn't want her in any more trouble than they should have been. So, yeah, she uses it to defend herself. And the reason why Liz helped Jack was because he was blackmailing her. He literally recorded them having sex and used it against her. But now that whole shit is done, Christian's freaking out, talking to his mom. He's like, I'm not ready for her kid, and I just love her very much, and yada yada. It's true love, you know? And she's like, then tell her that, apologize, do whatever you have to. She's not going to leave. Or he's like, I honestly thought she was going to leave me. That one? Hell no. She ain't going to leave you. She's not, or she's too freaking taken with you. Mother knows best. That's not just a saying. Shooting someone who is beating up a prego lady is a good use of a gun. You're damn right it is. And it was the prego lady that shot the guy. And where she shot him in the leg, pretty sure she nicked a fucking artery. Or completely obliterated it. But yeah. So it then goes on from there. They are totally accepting of the kid. Or yes, it's like nothing, or it is kind of cheesy because it takes it takes a threat of leaving and all this shit to get him to actually accept that they're going to have the kid and whatnot. But it does, it fits in an organic way. It really does. And so basically it does culminate there, or where they have a little montage of what's going on in the previous movies where she's looking at him now that he's finally accepted that they're going to have a family. And so she decides to go to the red room, crop up, dress up, hair up, and she's like, waiting for you, sir. And so, yeah, they have that little thing, and that's where they start running credits. And then they go to the short, or not even mid-credit scene, but shortly after the beginning of the credit scene, where it's a couple of years, or it's like a couple of years later, she's pregnant with another one, and they're playing with their son at their home. It really is a good story. And then that's where they end it, and they actually call back to Ellie Gould's Love Me Like You Do. And that was actually one of the only good songs in the entirety of the trilogy. That's actually a decent song. I actually thought it was a good song. I mean, I have weird taste in music, folks. If you ask me what my favorite song is, depending on what day it is, I'm going to tell you a different song. But yes, they replay that song. Also, Christian does learn where his biological mother was buried, and so they do have that closure as well. And he goes there to lay some flowers on her grave. It's not a gravestone, a standing stone, but it is I forget what they call it. But yes, when it comes to the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy as a movies, they are a very loose interpretation of the books, but they are also faithful in very much different ways. It's not all just sex and fucking as a lot of people have critiqued these movies to be. Believe it or not, there is a story in there. It has potential, but it is not expressed perfectly. I honestly think that in some ways they do it better in the movie than they do in the books, but in many ways it's better in the books than it is in the movie. The acting in the first movie, like I said, was very choppy. It was very bad. It's probably because these actors were not all ready for this kind of thing. This is a movie these are movies where there's a lot of nudity, a lot of sex, and there's nudity clauses. You got to think of it from their point of view. Dakota Johnson has to get fully naked. She has to get comfortable with that shit. And so she does. But in the second movies is where the story really takes off. It is a massive improvement. And the third movie is a good, steady from there, possibly a little bit of a step up. So yes, I will amend my earlier score for 50 Shades Freed. Objectively, I said it was an 8, the same as 50 Shades Darker. I would actually put it at a 7.5 or an 8.5 because in a way it does really put the story to a culmination that is the same as the book, but it is truly expressed in a way that fits on screen. These movies are not in any way perfect, folks, but I still think that a lot of people who do give these movies flack or give the books flack, honestly, I'm willing to bet that 70% of those people have not seen the movies or have not read the books or seen the movies, or one or the other. I'm willing to bet it's going off of what other people are saying. Because if they had, they would have realized that, well, there is a good story here, but yeah, the movie may not be great objectively, but it's a movie. It is at that. Now, yes, subjectively, 50 Shades 1 is roughly around the same, or it's 7 out of 10, where objectively it's 6. Now, moviegoer, where I do the moviegoer movies, I make fun of it because it comes from a Twilight fan. Oh, you know what? Yeah, he lays down all right on top of Dakota. Very good one, right? For some reason, I thought you were going to say he goes there to lay pipe because of what this movie review has done to me. Jesus, man. For me, it's both. I just had no desire to either read the books or see the movies. Well, you know what? That is what it is. But like I say, I'm never going to tell a person not to watch a movie unless it's woke trash, and I know that that person doesn't like woke trash. If I know a person's preferences enough, I can tell them whether or not a movie is going to be to their liking. But for you guys, I don't know you as well as I would like. But for the most part, I still say to those who I don't know as much, give it a chance, see what you think. This is only my thoughts and my opinions and my reviews. I'm not going to say one way or another that these movies should be watched or shouldn't be watched. If you ever do get bored or something, give them a watch. You might be surprised. You might think that they're good. You might not. I'm going to tell you flat out, the first movie is not good. Second movie is a vast improvement. The third movie is a little bit of an improvement. I mean, who doesn't like giant lizards fighting? I mean, Jesus Christ, Biggles. But anyway, that is going to be the reviews, folks. Thank you all for joining me. I'm really happy that you guys came in. Thanks for hearing me talk your ears off for an hour and a half. But yes, these movies, they got potential. They really, or the one thing I feel that they did or that they could have done was wait a few years before these books, or instead of just saying, okay, we got the book, now let's make the fucking movies. That's not always a good thing to do. Wait a couple years. See how the books pan out. See if there is something that can really, see if there's a lot of interest, and you might find that now's the time to actually freaking do them. Because I believe that you could have had better characters, because there was a time that Jamie Dornan didn't want to return for the last movie, 50 Shades Freed. They were actually going to give it to Ian Somerhalder. It's like, this is way too different looking for a character, or for the guy that plays Christian Grey. I mean, Ian Somerhalder is a great actor, but it's like not Christian Grey material. He also looks way different than Jamie Dornan. But yes, there was a lot in this movies that could have been done better. There's a lot in these movies that were done great. These movies, or it's kind of a 50-50, you know? But yes, do I recommend that people see it? Absolutely. Make up your own damn decisions on these. Alrighty, I'm going to record a video. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in, Riot. It's always good to see you guys. But yes, folks, I am actually going to wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning in. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. I am going to do more of these as the weeks go on, except for May 12th, because May 12th I have to go back up north to a memorial, and then I'm coming back down here. 50-50 Shades of Grey there. Yes, indeed. But I will try to do more mysterious movies, mystery movie reviews. Not necessarily trilogies. They might not even be an hour and a half long like this one was. But I am going to try doing these more while I am down here and whatnot. Because, well, it is better internet. I get better reception and all that stuff. So yes, folks, thank you for all tuning in. Let me know what you thought of these movies, or of the reviews, or of the books. And yeah, I'll definitely see you on the next ones. Stay tuned for Friday. I have Riot Kitty, Stunning and Brave Megatron, and others to discuss my latest versus stream, which is Galactus versus Unicron. Thank you to Stunning and Brave Megatron for making that suggestion. So yeah, and next Friday is the beginning of the Die Hard discussions. So if anybody wants to join on that one, I believe there's a couple of slots open. So this has been Orange Hat Reviews, folks, and have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all on the next one. And until then,